So based on that, and also just because like, I'm turning 30 this year, I've moved out. I've moved into an up-and-coming area of Birmingham. Whether it'll up or come or not, I don't know. It's called King's Heath, the area that I'm in. Oh, can I have a lift? I thought I was buying a nice place, really, but it's a bit of a dump. And, like, there's, like, damp in there and all sorts of problems. And my dad, who's just retired, he's taken over as project manager of the project. Official reason for this is that I'm too busy to coordinate all of the works myself, couldn't possibly do it all myself. The real reason is I can't speak to tradesmen. I tried to speak to the electrician over WhatsApp. He doesn't like an emoji. Oh! 4 aubergines, he got very confused. Amazing. He seems to know. He was a teacher before he retired. He knows loads of stuff about houses. He goes up to floorboards and he'll go, yeah. Won't tell me what that means, but he knows something. There was a door that needed fixing. He just came round and made and fitted a door. I was like, how do you know to do that? You're a teacher. He's like, I don't know. I just sort of know from birth. From birth? Sorry, all the other kids are in the nursery crying. You're there making a trestle table. Come on, mate. I think what happens, it has to. When you become a father, you go to some sort of dad's school where they teach you how to do all of this shit, but not how to get emotion into a text message. The messages I sent to father, long rambling endeavours, just landed, wonderful holiday, food was fantastic, weather was glorious, happy to be back, but sad to not be in that wonderful weather. How are you? Is all well? The reply will just be, yes, fine. Are you a hostage? I find it quite weird talking about my father on stage. I never did it. I've been doing stand-up 10 years, and I didn't do it when he was a teacher because I didn't want to undermine his authority. But also, there's just no real friction with my dad, really. He's just a lovely man. We just get on really well. When I came out as bisexual on my 21st birthday, obviously very nervous about that, didn't really know what he was going to say, and he was so lovely. I said to him, I said, Dad, I think I might be bisexual. And he went, that's fine, as long as you're happy, I don't mind, whatever. And I was sort of annoyed. I was sort of like, punch me, give me a story. And I tried to escalate it. I was like, I'm taking drugs. Don't tell your mother. I'm listening to Snow Patrol. Get out of my house. So he's been amazing, he's been extraordinary. I've also been getting help with the house from a friend of mine called Peter. You'll learn a lot about Peter in this show. He's one of my oldest, dearest friends. He's hard to explain in a short way, in a sort of succinct way. I find a good way of giving you a bit of an idea of what Peter's like is to tell you that he once tried to spend 24 hours in a 24-hour Tesco. Like it was a challenge. He got kicked out after 21 hours for trying on too many clothes. And I said, well, have you ever had oral sex? And he went, yeah. And I said, well, the mouth's not really meant for sex, is it? And he went, oh. And I said, I'll see you in hell. We've got a nice Facebook group, the King's Heath Neighbourhood Watch group. I'm sure you've got one in your local area. I'm sure yours is as batshit as ours. This is a sample post. There's a serial pooper who keeps going on Heathfield Road. Definitely human, and from the looks of it, likely the same person. Definitely human, likely the same person. What empirical data are we using for this, please? Oh, that's Martin again. We're very funny people. This wasn't a funny post, but they said the King's Heath Pet Centre was robbed last night. They broke in and stole a bunch of stock and money from the till. Horrible. First comment on this, any leads? It's so efficient, it's beautiful. I'll never write a better joke in my life. It's a nice place to live, King's Heath, nice place. Something made me love it a little less. About 4 years ago, I got in a cab, got into an Uber. And he was the lovely driver. The driver said to me, just started with Uber. I said, how are you finding it? And he said, oh, it's wonderful. I'd lost all my confidence. And now I can put food on the table for the kids and I feel so much better about myself. And I said, how do you feel about King's Heath? Because he lives there as well. And he said, oh, it's a lovely place to live, isn't it? But, you know, we do have our problems. You know, in schools, they're teaching kids it's okay to be gay. I was like, shit. Unfortunately, I've had to deal with quite a lot of homophobia recently. I've discovered that someone in my family is homophobic, which is really disappointing, I suppose is the word, because that's not who we are as a family. We're not homophobic. We're racists! I won't tell you which family member it is. I'll just tell you I've got 3 aunties. I've got Auntie Susan, Auntie Deborah, and Auntie Gay Marriage. And she's a born-again born-again Christian, which is fine, I don't mind, be religious, whatever, but born-again is the gayest of the religions she could have chosen. It's so ostentatious. I'm born again, it's so over the top. Literally means you came to it in later life, that's all it means. By that definition, I'm born again anal beads. So I'm in the back of this Uber and he's saying, they're teaching kids it's okay to be gay in schools. And I said, oh, it's a shame you say that because I'm bisexual and that affects me. And he went, oh, I'm so sorry, I don't want to offend anyone, I don't want to upset anyone. It's just, in my religion, the anus isn't meant for sex. And I said, well, have you ever had oral sex? And he went, yeah. And I said, well, the mouth's not really meant for sex, is it? And he went, oh. And I said, I'll see you in hell. He laughed. We laughed all the way through the journey. At one point, he said, you're really funny. Are you on Facebook? I was like, darling, I'm a huge fucking deal. But nobody, shouted. No one was aggressive. No one was violent. We just had an adult conversation about it. I got out the cab, reported him to Uber, and he lost his job. It's a nice story. It's a nice story. But what he was referring to was, at that time, we had protests in our local area outside one of our schools. It was against this. You might remember it was in the press a little bit. It's called No Outsiders, and it was a series of books that had been curated by one of the teachers at the school, a man called Andrew Moffat. And it was literally books that teach kids that some people have mummies and daddies and all different shapes and sizes of family. This is one of the books, Mommy, Mama and Me, completely harmless book. I'm against this book myself, just because it looks to me like they're raising a young Phil Spector, but other than that, perfectly nice book. This is one of the other books, Daddy, Popper and Me. Again, I'm against this because it looks like Dominic Cummings and I are raising a child weird. I think that's fairly clear. But our MP at the time was this man, a man called Roger Godsiff. Now, I know he looks like a pantomime villain. He's absolutely not. He's a real-life villain. He's a twat. And he's a Labour MP, voted against gay marriage, and while these anti-LGBT protests going on in his constituency, he was nowhere to be seen. I'd emailed him, no response, and in the end, I was like, I'm just going to have to smoke this prick out. So I just did a bit of light trolling of Roger Godsiff, that's all I did. I just tweeted, I just said, has anyone seen Roger Godsiff? I think I saw him riding his bike. Where might you have seen him? People went mad for this. Oh, I saw him in the gym getting serious gains. I saw him playing for the local team. I mean, he got weird quite quickly, but that's Twitter, isn't it? That's what happens on Twitter. But while Roger Godsiff was nowhere to be seen, these protests kept going on. They went on for weeks. And in the end, the protesters started speaking to the press, and they're saying mad shit like this. This is to the BBC. When it comes to sex and things, why are they teaching them that? Why can't they just teach them what they need to be taught? No one was teaching kids how to have gay sex. That's not what these books are about. They're literally teaching kids that some people have mummies, daddies, and all different shapes and sizes of family. No one would write a book teaching kids how to have gay sex. And then I thought, I would like to see that book. And, sometimes if you want something to exist, you have to make it yourself, don't you? So this is A is for anal. I've been working on it for a while. It's a very simple concept in many ways. Very simple concept. Teach a child the alphabet and gay sex is a very simple concept. David Walliams gave me a quote which is so nice of you. You didn't have to do that. So lovely of David Walliams. And we could play this together, boys and girls. Shout out, what do we think B is for, boys and girls? Balls. Well done, it is balls. It gets trickier. What do we think C's for? CBT, lovely thought. No, it's not, but there's no wrong answers here. Anyone else?
Cock cage.
Cock cage? It's not cock cage, but it could be a cock cage. Yeah, no, I'll give it to you. It's cupping another bloke's balls. That's what it is. What do we think D's for, boys and girls? Dark room, there's some queers in, there we go. Some of you might need to Google what that is later. Some confused straight people looking at me there. What's a dark room? Just go to it. There's a place called Bolts that I'd recommend. Anyway, E's quite tricky. What do you think E's for, boys and girls? No, that's a nice thought though, Ellen, a nice thought. Lovely. Emo?
Easy access.
It is easy access. Well done. Well done. Very good. Said so confidently. Dad, is that you? In Newcastle, somebody said, is it E? That hurts. It should be. It should be. I got it wrong. You're all going to get this one. Last one, boys and girls. After 3, what do we think F is for? 1, 2, 3. Fisting? It's fighting homophobia, actually. Fisting. That is disgusting. Fisting. This is for children. And And you're shouting fisting. G is for gay. I put Alan Sugar. Sorry, it should be gay lord. Sorry. I'll rectify it when it gets to the publishers. Could send it to a few publishers. You can imagine the emails back. That was the final piece in the puzzle. In order to convince the gays that King's Heath was a gay village, I had to run a pride march. Now, immediately, as Ken emailed the Hare and Hounds, and Adam Regan, who runs the Hare and Hounds, very nice man, he replied very positively, but said, this is quite big to deal with over email. We should speak about this on the phone, really. I'd not been keen speaking on the phone as Ken, because I'm not great at accents, but it was time for Ken Roberts to speak on the phone.
Hello.
Adam Regan, it's Ken Roberts from the Gayborhood Foundation.
Hello, mate.
I wanted to talk about doing a pride march in King's Heath.
Oh, right, okay. 26th of September, yeah, I'll pencil that now. I'll wait for you to confirm it.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Regan. I'll leave you to your day. Remember, you can only ever be yourself unless you're Ken Roberts.
Thanks, Ken. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, mate. Bye-bye. I'm doing a pride march in 2 weeks. I don't know what to do.
2 weeks to run a pride march. Never run one in my life. Don't even know where to start. Don't know what to call it. I can't call it King's Heath Pride. That's enough. And then I remembered that comment on the Facebook group. It's King's Heath, not Queen's Heath. Of course, we called it Queen's Heath Pride. Change the name of the pub outside just for the occasion. Now, we had to have a march. Now, the high street on the right here, very busy. You can't do a march there. It wouldn't be safe. But I remembered that York Road here is pedestrianised. So we decided to do it between the Duke here and the Hare and Hounds, which is a journey of 81 yards or 1 minute. But it's something. The next 2 weeks, Ken was obsessed buying all sorts of props, trying to get bunting, all sorts of different bits and bobs, trying to get DJs. One of them was very litigious and said, if you want to have live music, you'll need council permission. When is it? Just a warning, it can take weeks to get approval. Ken said, it's in 4 days. He went, yeah, you're fucked. Too late by then, already ordered the unicorn. People were tweeting about it. The Birmingham Mail had run another article. I'd managed to book some drag performers. Fat Butcher agreed to perform. He's a wonderful drag performer. Wonderful. If you don't know Fat Butcher, I did a live show on Channel 4, a Pride show, and Fat Butcher did poppers in the background, directly on national television. So that's my career dangling by a thread. Thank you, Fat Butcher. She's in.